Hey everybody, welcome to the Jim Master Show Live. How's everybody doing today? So nice to see all your smiley faces. Hey gang, if you're not having a good day, you know this is the place to come. Our entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series to be inspired, to be entertained, to think about life, and always have a good time collectively. We have an international audience that watches live from around the world, and we thank you and you and you for being here. Thanks for all the Instagram posts, the tweets, the Facebook messages, the sharing of the links as well that you guys like to do, which we really, really appreciate. It's really amazing how much you guys are supporting our show by spreading the word. We have reached, I'd say it's about a week past our 2-year anniversary, and we're actually working on a big 2-year anniversary celebration, and over 660 episodes we have done. Just about 7 days a week. And sometimes we do 2 shows in a day. Which, did I sign up for that? We call that double levity when there's 2 shows. Yeah. Or when a guest returns, and a lot of the guests come on our show and they're like, as soon as the show ends, they're like, when can I come back? We call that double levity too when they've been on more than once. Our viewers call themselves the Lovities, part of our Levity Squad. And the reason why is because I said the show has a lot of light, love, and levity about a year ago. And all of a sudden, everybody said, that's it. We're your Levity Squad. You're Mr. Levity. This is Levity Hall. And we want some levity every single day in our lives. So with all of the entertainment and our guests that come in from Broadway and Hollywood, television, film, music, stage, culinary arts, sports, comedy, inspiration, and more, we always throw in some levity. Checking in with everybody. Hey, gang, if you would like to comment live during our show. Now, again, talking to the audience that's watching live, you have the opportunity to do that when you subscribe to the channel you're watching right now. The show is the Jim Masters Show Live. The channel you're watching it on is Jim Masters TV. So for those of you who would like to possibly comment live, we can see your comments. Sometimes we even show them on the screen occasionally, but we welcome you to do that. A lot of you also chat amongst yourselves. I think you exchange recipes, you check in on the kids, whatever it may be, you chat with each other. It's like an episode of the Waltons. Everybody says hello, and then they all say goodbye. When you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, the channel you're watching right now, it's an exclusive for our subscribers, the ability to chat in our JMS live chat room, and we can see the comments, and you can connect with myself and with our special guests as well. So if you want to comment in the chat room right now, you can certainly do that while the show is live, or you can always leave a comment. There's the subscribe, hit the red button, click that subscribe button, and you're all set. But if you'd like to leave a comment on the actual YouTube channel as well, you can certainly do that. We love that. Of course, give all the episodes a hearty thumbs up. There's a little thumb icon, kind of looks like this on the YouTube channel. Click that and leave a comment for us as well. Don't forget, sometimes people do forget that if you do subscribe to the YouTube channel, which we appreciate, there's no cost for that. Just lets us know that you enjoy all the work we're doing here and all this content and all these episodes. Certainly make sure you click the notification bell. There's a little bell icon on the screen there. Click that, because then you'll be alerted about specials that we do, special episodes on location. Sometimes we've done host chat, pop-up shows, lovely episodes, and so much more. So you'll never miss a thing. We've got a lot of comments already built up. Keep them coming. Thanks for the enthusiasm, and welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live. If this is your first time, we welcome you. If this is your 660th plus time, thank you for your loyalty as well. Boy, do we have an amazing guest. We were having just a phenomenal conversation the last 15 minutes. Usually we get together with our guests, I would say, right around 15 minutes or so prior, to check the audio, the video, make sure everything sounds good, and also to connect prior. But when we chat, it's all ad lib. There's no script. There's no questions that are programmed or anything on our show. We don't call this interviews. We call this conversations. And I was having, and she was having, Tonya Pinkins, our amazing guest, a phenomenal conversation. We covered so much ground in like 15 minutes. It was an automatic click. Tony-winning actress and singer extraordinaire, and so much more. There isn't a project you don't know her from. Film, television, stage. Actor, singer, starred in 9 Broadway shows thus far, including the original Caroline or Change, her award-winning film Red Pill, which we're going to talk about, which is riveting. Some people have said shocking. I would say it is thought-provoking. It makes you think. It gets you to stop and pause. It really is something special. And it was released, has been translated in Spanish and Russian and Greek and much more. She also has a book too, Red Pill Unmasked, a historical, spiritual, and philosophical memoir on life, which is available at Amazon.com. And now, in addition to being an extraordinary award-winning actress, singer, and author, Tanya is also a playwright, director, and educator. Matter of fact, with Red Pill, which is really amazing, she not only, in this case, starring in it, but she cast it. She was the casting director. She funded it. She directed it, produced it, all of it. Her stamp, her way of doing things, her vision is all over this incredible movie. And that is no easy task to be able to pull something off like that, but it's been a dream of hers. As I mentioned, playwright as well. Her Medium essay, Why Am I Fed Up with Performative Activism from Black and White Theater Makers, has been made required reading at universities, including the Yale School of Drama. She's also the author of the self-help book, Get Over Yourself. We were just talking about that moments ago, how some people should. How to drop the drama and claim the life you deserve. She's also a painter. Did you know that? With an NFT collection on OpenSea. You may also have seen and heard her in The Chicago Strangler, on Discovery, Scandal, Gotham, Madam Secretary, or of course, All My Children. Yes, the beloved soap opera. And of course, As the World Turns. She also played Emmett Till's grandmother, Alma, in ABC and Hulu's Women of the Movement. Extraordinary performances in that. The Red Pill Game also is something else that has come out. Really amazing. And I want to show you something here. We actually have, if you haven't had a chance to see this, I encourage you to do. It's going to get you to think. It's going to get you to pause. It's going to get you, it's considered a thriller, horror movie, but there's a message to it. There's a tremendous message to it, and one to really, give us great pause. And we've been living in a time of great pause in the last 2 years. This movie does the very same. Here is the trailer, the official trailer, and we appreciate the folks lending this to us to be able to show it here exclusively on our show for Red Pill. Again, cast, directed, produced, starring in, all of it by the incredible Tonya Pinkins. Here's a preview.
Do you know what the red pill is? Well, in some circles, a red pill is someone who infiltrates a group and then destroys them from the inside.
Did you hear about the creature woman that attacked the father and son hunting down here?
Good. I hope she killed them.
What is that? Like Sanskrit or
That
Arabic?
looks like Sanskrit.
This ain't the Middle East.
Yeah, it's not even the Middle West.
Who would keep something like that?
What is happening?
Bobby! The only people missing or dead are brown people.
How's that for an intro?
I don't even think I've seen that trailer. I was like, oh, wow, it's one of those trailers.
And there's our illustrious guest extraordinaire, the one and only Tonya Pinkins, joining us here. Thanks so much for joining us. And you and I were having such a great conversation about life and the craziness of it before we went live. It's an honor and a pleasure to welcome you to the Jim Masters Show live, Tonya. And really, really, thanks so much I know you're very busy doing this, that, and the other things. So to take time to spread your fabulous wit and wisdom with all of us, we thank you so much.
Well, it is my privilege to be here. You are fascinating, man. And thank you for that beautiful introduction. I'm just grateful. Thank you.
The pleasure is all mine. And as my father has always said, whenever anybody says something kind or nice to you, ask them to put it in writing and address it management.
I like it. Yes. Yes.
So you've been very busy, as you always are, and this project, Red Pill, is just one of several things that you have your hands in, which I think is absolutely amazing. Let's talk a bit about how you have been in the last couple of years. I mentioned we've been in a time of great change, great movement, and great reflection. And we were chatting about that before we went live, how it's been a time of pause, a time of rebooting, a beautiful time in many ways that we can seize in our lives to come together, to all come to the table, to celebrate one another and our uniqueness. I've always said, we like to inspire as often as possible on our show, that the world spins better on its axis and more smoothly when it's balanced, when people are together, when when people have an opportunity to really express themselves, love, kindness, empathy, because out of that is wonderful creation, as you know, as somebody who is a creator on so many different levels. How have the last 2 years or so been teachable for you in terms of teachable moments? So what has Tanya learned about Tanya through it all?
Well, you were saying when we were talking before about Red Pill and how, you like balance, and how what you saw in the film is this an opportunity for people to look at themselves in the way they respond to the film. So I was editing. I had hoped Red Pill would come out in March, just as the pandemic started, and it didn't. So that first year of the pandemic was spent with me editing the film. I went to Korea, so I spent 2 months in South Korea. At the time that I got there, less than 500 people had died there, and I honestly felt like I'm safer in South Korea. They at least have a very clear plan. And in spending time in South Korea and seeing how this culture of community had come together to stop widespread death in the country, I also was able to see how this culture of community was very oppressive on individualism, and it gave me this greater appreciation for the freedom and individualism that we have in America. Even though there's this polarization going on, I had a greater appreciation of it for having spent my time in South Korea, which is a completely different culture.
I love what you said, and I can resonate with that. I've said oftentimes, not just on this show, but in my professional work in TV and radio, and just in regular conversations, that if you really want to have an appreciation of where we happen to reside, go around the world, visit other countries, visit other cultures. You'll fall in love with the culture. You'll fall in love with the food, the people, the history, the geography. But then it also gives you this uncanny reawakening about here and the opportunities that we have in many different ways that some countries and some individuals don't have, but yet also where there's room to grow and expand that even further. And when you leave and come back, it's an extraordinary thing that you can only know if you do it, like I've done it and you have done it. And I encourage everybody to do it.
Yes.
It's really important because, again, it just allows us to celebrate what we have and appreciate it maybe more deeply, and that brings us together more. I'm fascinated not only about Red Pill, but you as a person. You're a woman of great substance. You're a woman of great vision and empathy and kindness in everything that you do. When somebody has a conversation with you, they're left thinking about the world, thinking about life, because you like to go deep like I do. Early on for you, growing up in Chicago, what were those inspirations for you to want to not only go into the arts, but also to go into these these avenues of wanting to empower and inspire and connect with humanity through that art?
You know, I don't know that there was inspiration, say, from some external place. I grew up in a household with 5 generations under one roof. So I knew my grandmother's grandmother. And when you grow up in that sort of family, you have a very keen sense of the continuation of everything. You have a sense of birth. I got to see people born at home. I got to see people die at home. And I think those kinds of experiences ground you and root you in the expansiveness of humanity, and just gives you an appreciation for so many perspectives that I think a lot of people today in our quote global community, they may never see a baby in their entire life. They definitely may never see a death in their entire life. And so they have fear of things that are natural parts of life that I was privileged to have be a part of my home.
Yes, absolutely. So again, early on, even as a kid, you really paid attention to it and you soaked it all in, which I think is fantastic. I sort of did that as well. I was very keenly aware of life and relationships and people, maybe an old soul quality or something people have described, something similar. But was there also a box of show tunes and Streisand records in a basement too that sort of kicked things into gear for you, I think?
Yes. I think my mother got one of those, I don't know, mortgages. That was a program that allowed her to, move into what had been a traditionally white Jewish community on the south side of Chicago, outside of Pill Hill, which was a doctor's community, and it was called Jeffrey Manor. And, as the Black families moved in, the white families moved out every night. And whoever lived in the house that we lived in forgot a box full of records with Flower Drum Song. Which was the other one? There was a Streisand album that had Don't Rain on My Parade in it. I got to learn Send in the Clowns. I don't remember what show that's from, but that album was in there. There was some Sarah Vaughan live in Japan in there.
Wow.
And so, I just happened and put these songs on the record player. People don't even know what a record player is. LPs, 33s.
I still have mine.
I was putting on the record player in my basement and singing along. And that was in the Motown era. And
Yeah.
I was drawn to this music, not to Motown at all.
So for you, was acting first or was singing first? What was speaking to your heart early on, Tonya?
Honestly, I was very, very shy, and I did not want to do any of those things publicly. I wanted to be a writer. And that's what I did. I wrote and I painted. I wrote songs. I wrote plays. I wrote my first novel when I started it when I was about 5 and finished it when my teacher destroyed it when I was about 9. And that was what I thought I would be. And then I had, my mother put me in different, Francis Moore had a program downtown on Wabash in Chicago where I got to be in Peter Pan and, The Sound of Music when I was like 9 and 10 years old.
Wow. What was that like? Did the bug bite you early on? Were you enjoying that?
I was enjoying it, but still shy. So I remember when I got cast as Annie in The Miracle Worker when I was in 7th grade at Robert A. Black School, I wouldn't sing the song. I only would hum it, the Mockingbird song. I was afraid to sing in front of anyone.
So how did you work through that? And this could be really advantageous to anybody watching and knows, you today with all the successes and everything that you've accomplished and built up for yourself through blood, sweat, and tears, how you were able to work through the fear and the angst. What do you attribute to the ability to get past that, grow through that?
It took a long time. I mean, I think the first part that got me through it, as I said, I didn't sing the Mockingbird song. I
That
hummed
was
it.
out. That was
But a year later, I was playing Anna in The King and I. And I think what got me through it was I was a character. And as long as I was a character, it wasn't me. And I will say, well into my professional career, I didn't want to go and sing public places where you had to be yourself. And I would, there are so many times that I have shamefully, completely sang badly when it was just some benefit performance where you just had to sing a song. I have humiliated myself in those occasions many, many a time. And at a certain point, I had to create a kind of character to be, even when I did that, because I find for me singing, it was the most vulnerable thing that I could do. Like, you're naked, these notes are just hitting things inside your body and you don't know what it's going to hit and you don't know what's going to come out. And yeah, that's kind of an ongoing thing, I'd say, for me.
Is it something that you still think about, that still, even with all of the success and the ability to express yourself, it's still always that the little girl is still inside questioning and thinking? Somebody said to me once that the butterflies that we get, one person said, oh, those I get these butterflies and that strangles me and it's not good. My perspective, and I heard this from somebody when I was coming up the ranks early on in television, they said, you always want those butterflies. You want the butterflies of angst a little bit in there when you're just about to go do something that you're considering sizable in your life, no matter what it is. And that's because it's not always doubt, but it's more about you care so much about it. You still are so passionate for it that you want to give it your best shot. You want to strive for excellence. You want to do a great job. You want people to get something from it. So those butterflies are actually a good thing to keep those juices going and flowing. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's good to have those. So early on for you, again, obviously you've had opportunities come your way, but you've had to create opportunity as well. What were some of those early door opening opportunities in your career, Tanya, that really got people to understand and appreciate who you are and what you had to bring to the table, what you offered?
Well, I have to say that I'm becoming a bigger believer in fate as I get older. And when I tell you the opportunities that I had, you're like, you couldn't have planned those things. So my elementary school teacher, like my history teacher, was an actor as a hobbyist.
Wow.
And he saw me as having like great potential as an actor, even as a elementary school teacher. And so when I got into high school, he went to William H. Macy and Stephen Schachter at the St. Nicholas Theater Company in Chicago and lobbied them to let me into their professional acting school as a 15-year-old. And John Mahoney and I were in the same acting class. It was his first acting class with William H. Macy. So like, you can't plan for that.
Yeah.
So I was learning the Meisner method as they were creating what they were going to do from Sandy Meisner's method that is now at the Atlantic School. After that, I was cast in a play at 16 at the Goodman Theater, the world premiere of exiled playwright Wole Soyinka from Nigeria. I got to be in that when I was a junior in high school, and then I got to go to the Kennedy Center as a senior.
Wow.
I then, decided between Yale and Juilliard and Carnegie Mellon to go to Carnegie Mellon for their musical theater program. And over the Christmas break of my freshman year, that same teacher from elementary school said, hey, there's a cattle call listing in the Chicago Tribune for the new Hal Prince Steve Sondheim show. You should go to the cattle call. I go to a cattle call and Joanna Merlin says, I want to fly you to New York next week to audition for Hal and Steve. And they say, we want to cast you in this musical that's going to Broadway next year. I mean, I've had like incredible opportunities like that. You can't prepare, or you can't plan for that. You have to be prepared for that.
Yes, absolutely. And did you end up leaving the program at Carnegie Mellon? And it was I think you had once said that it was difficult, right? The way they sort of ran things, or the process could be very harsh, maybe in certain ways judgmental, and that sort of dissuade people who might have turned out to be extraordinary talents from perhaps maybe even giving in and
It
giving
was
up.
cruel. It was just cruel. I'm told they don't run them that way, but it was like acting school. Then they had the thing where they cut people, where these teachers we were playing at, we've got a crystal ball and we have decided that you will never be. So we're cutting you from the program. You're not even teachable. And one of the great stories I love coming out of Carnegie Mellon is from Billy Porter, who they told, there are no roles in the American theater for someone with your voice, and you're too effeminate and you're this. And he said, well, that's what I'm paying you for you to teach me. So I won't be going anywhere. Like, wow, that's why he's the superstar that he is now, that he had the moxie to say, I'm paying you. You can tell me you don't like what I'm doing, but I'm staying here in school. Whereas most people slink away in shame. They said, I can't do it.
She said, I can't do it. Right. So he took it as a challenge and ran with it, which actually is a great lesson for anybody watching who's going through the same, or who's thinking about it, or who's struggling with it themselves and doubting themselves. Listen to somebody like a Billy Porter, listen to somebody like a Tonya Pinkins who've been there and have been through it, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So here you are, this opportunity in New York, and you take the bull by the horns. What was that experience like for you? And when you called back home to the family in Chicago, they must have been like, oh my God.
No, they didn't know who Hal, Prince, and Steve.
They didn't know.
Yeah. Didn't really have any meaning to them, really.
Yeah.
You talked about being an empath, and I'm definitely an empath, and I'm also clairvoyant.
Yes.
So, I think that Red Pill shows my clairvoyance, but I sort of had that kind of clairvoyance about Merrily We Roll Along. People will be going, oh, it's going to be fantastic because I need this. I'm like, could be.
Right.
Could be. And it was, in fact, the first flop that Hal and Stephen had together. Yeah. And it was a breakup in their relationship for quite a long time thereafter. And there was just something in my spirit that said that, we don't know what this is going to be. Okay. I wasn't in this like, oh my God, this is going to be the thing. I was like, we don't know what it's going to be. We'll see what it's going to be. And
are you that way about a lot of things? Are you tempered? Because I tend to be too. I'm always, when everybody around me is going, yeah. I'm always there just waiting to see, make sure, and sort of tempered in the adulation and expression of it.
I don't think my temperedness is a choice. It's just, I don't get swept up in a moment because I'm always connected to everything.
Yeah, right.
Like I'm connected to everything. So I'm like, okay, well, you might be happy about this, but I'm with these people over here. They're not happy about it. So I don't know who's going to prevail in here, but I definitely know that this is not a sweeping thing here,
Is it waiting for the other shoe to drop?
Oh, no, not at all.
Good.
It's never a waiting for the other shoe to drop. I mean, working on Merrily We Roll Along was the greatest, I think Lonnie Price calls the documentary the best, worst thing that could have ever happened. And it was. How extraordinary. Like, okay, Hal, Prince, and Stephen Sondheim were the height, the most I could ever work for. The albums that I was listening to were albums of the shows they've done together, Company, Little Night Music. So to get to work with the people whose music I had been listening to, the shows, and then to watch them fail every day, make one terrible mistake after another every day, there is no better education than that, because then oh, even the best can fail. I'm good. I'm not the best yet, so I get to fail too.
Right. Exactly. Some of the most successful people in the world have failed multiple times, had rejection, thought about, closing up shop and going away, but they didn't. And that just helps you grow, makes you more resilient. Because I think you've said, that you feel you've failed in a lot of different occasions on different things that happen, but yet at the same time, it just makes you stronger and makes you want it more, and it allows you to just continue to build that resilience, right?
Yeah, I think that if you aren't failing, you're not trying. You
Yeah.
aren't risking growing. I actually look for the potential for failure in any project that I go on. If I'm not risking something that I don't know how to do, then I'm not really interested in it. I want to keep growing. And there's one of my mantras is brilliance. Brilliance lies in the moment that might not work.
Yes.
Brilliance lies in the moment that might not work. If
Yeah.
you keep doing what you know how to do, you're just gonna be Starbucks, McDonald's. You're not going to be the next thing. And I had the privilege of experiencing that with Gregory Hines on Jelly's Last Jam, because he had been a cabaret performer since he's 3 years old.
Yes.
I mean, like the consummate genius performer. When we were doing Jelly's Last Jam, when anything would go wrong, and I mean sets would crash and burn in the middle of the show, he could stop and do 20 minutes while the crew was cleaning up the mess.
Yes.
He was a master at that.
Yes.
And George C. Wolfe, our writer and director, said, this is not a cabaret show. You're an actor. You have to do what Jelly Roll Morton would do, not what Gregory Hines would do. And it scared the hell out of him. And he and George went like this with each other.
Right.
He had to push and grow. And, he did amazingly. He was given the Tony Award for his thing, but he didn't know he could do it.
Yes. Yes. See, and I understand what he was doing. I've been in many situations like that where I've been on television or radio or wherever stage, and the other person is sick, a light bursts, somebody falls down and injures themselves, a set collapses, a chair falls down, things happen, and you're out there and there's no net, no rescue. And the camera, the TV camera is pointed on me, and I'm listening in the little IFB earphone. Jim, just keep talking. Jim, we have no other programming to go to. Jim, we just need you to just keep going. That's happened to me actually on PBS. And it's also happened to actually during the pledge drives too, where you're talking about PBS, and then they're handing me like every thank you gift there is. Talk about the tote bag, talk about this, talk about that. And the director's like hiding under the camera so you don't see her handing me. And we also have this, and we also have this. There was one time I think I did 35, 40 minutes where there was no interruption because something happened where they were playing a 2-part movie, and they realized that the movie was coming to an end 50% earlier, and the credits started rolling. And that's because of the fact that they ran the second half in master control before the first half. So they now went to black, but we're live on air. And we had there was nobody else because the co-host was the programming director. They called him out of the studio. So it was just me. I tell you, and I'm sure Gregory would have said, and anybody who's had these experiences, that was one of the most, and multiple times like that, exhilarating, challenging, scary, crazy, and fantastic moments when everything that is scripted up to that or just designed and perfected to look fabulous and perfect falls apart, and you're there, and there's nobody else that can hop in to do this, and they're begging you, just keep going. Some people I know would run off and get scared, or they would just say, I can't, or whatever. What a challenge. And those are some of my favorite moments, is when that happens and there's no net and there's nothing. And then it wipes you out after. You're like, wow, that really happened. But boy, it's just amazing and totally exhilarating. I crave when that's why I love doing stuff live, because anything can happen and the adrenaline is firing at all moments. I'm sure there's times where you've been doing your thing and props didn't work and people fell ill and craziness has happened and Tanya had to keep going.
Yeah, the audience doesn't know that it's not real. Oh, and I love it when I just go up, like when you have just the brain and you're just dead and you're just like there, and then you just look at somebody like, it's on you.
It's on you.
I always think that there's that phrase, I don't know, is it Goethe who said, when you come to the edge of the cliff, step out knowing that either the ground will rise to meet you or you'll be given wings to fly.
That's right. Exactly. That's beautifully said. And that is so very, very true. For you, of course, Caroline or Change, brilliant performances. How did that happen? How did that opportunity happen for you?
Oh gosh, another one of my crazy life stories. One of the things that I experienced coming up was when I was coming up, you were either a singer or you were an actor. And actors didn't get to sing and singers didn't get to act. So every time I wanted to be in one or the other that was different, I would have to literally change my look, shave my head if I was going from being a singer to an actress, because actresses in musical theater had long hair and they dressed beautiful and sexy. But, actors looked hard and they looked like characters. So I would have to periodically change my look and change my hair to get the kind of opportunities that I wanted. So I hadn't sung in a very long time. And my friend Charlene Woodard went in for a show called The Wild Party. And I remember she said, "This is Tonya Pinkins' role." She was like, "George Wolf, you need to, get Tonya Pinkins." So I called George Wolf up and he was like, "Do you even know how to sing anymore?" Like, George. So I was nursing a baby. I think it was like 3 months old. And I went in to audition with my nursing baby. And he cast me in The Wild Party, which I did on Broadway with Toni Collette and Eartha Kitt and, Michael McElroy and Mandy Patinkin. And in the middle of that, George says to me one day, Tony Kushner just wrote this play, and it's about this maid who is in Louisiana, and she has this little Jewish boy that she takes care of, and she's cooking frying some chicken one day, and she tells him hell is a place where Jews go when they die. You should play that part. And I'm like, what?
Wait, rewind that a little bit.
What? Like I have no context other than I should play the part of the woman who tells the little boy hell is a place where Jews go when they die. Okay. And that was my first introduction to Caroline or Change.
Amazing. I tell you, absolutely amazing. And then again, that was another, thought-provoking production, made people think, made people question, and an extraordinary thing to be a part of, huh?
Oh yeah, that one was a life changer for me because most of the times I would go in, I have a very strong personality. And so people would be really compelled by that. And then they would bring me in and I would do it. And then they'd get intimidated. They'd get afraid. And then they'd start trying to soften me till I was no longer the character that they cast me to be. And that happened over and over and over again in my career. Oh no, we want you to be more likable. We want you to be nicer. And Caroline was the first time in my career where I was never asked to be nice. I was never asked to be likable. And I think that is why the people who saw it and were moved by it would come back 10, 12 times and bring other people, because I was allowed to be a kind of broken that all of us have inside of us. It's, to me, what I love about South Korean storytelling is they always show you the most broken character that is doesn't feel like they should be a protagonist, but by the end of the show, you're rooting for them because you understand how they got to be who they are.
That is so true. Oftentimes, we make judgments without realizing what the other person is going through, what has just happened that day. Maybe they got a phone call that their mother just passed away 5 minutes ago, or somebody was in a tragic car accident and they've got to rush to the hospital. And are you somebody who, I think you and I were chatting about this, was this kindred spirit thing, where you see the full circle. You see in life, not just in art and all of these productions and projects, but you're somebody who wakes up and is willing to and looks forward to and wants to see all sides, all angles, the complete 360. And you don't rush to judgment and you don't jump, and you want to see it all and deduce and put the puzzle pieces together. And I'm somebody like that too. I'm always, there's this extreme here, that extreme there, in life, in anything. And I like to hear elements of all of it and then sort of put it together and sort of bring those together into, some sort of welcoming atmosphere that's empathetic and kind. It seems like you are very, very similar. And when you wake up, you're ready to take on the day, but you see it through a 360 full circle balancing lens.
Yes. And that doesn't mean that there aren't things that can take me off my game where I might blow up at somebody in a moment or be, in a trauma place where I'm having a PTSD moment. So I get, there are buttons that I've got that get pushed and then I'm a mess. But in general, I want all the information. And if I have a point of view that I feel really clear about, I'm going to go to find who is the person who I know is not going to have my point of view. I want to hear that point of view too, because I truly believe in a knowing sense in my body that what we perceive as opposites is just part of a spectrum. Just like, where does light begin and dark end? Like if you're looking at light moving to dark, where does one end? It's just a spectrum. And depending on where you are in it, it's all true. And one of the things I found for myself of when I have been in moments where I'm like in pure truth, that truth polarizes like nothing else. When you are in something that is true, you will get both sides that come up in opposition. I'm like, okay, these are both true. So how do you hold the space for both to be true?
Right.
That is a difficult thing for most people to do.
Yes.
They want to swing one way or the other. And I'm always like, no, we got to hold the space that they're both true.
Absolutely right. And again, that's where coming in and taking those puzzle pieces and sort of putting that puzzle together really works in a beautiful way. And you've been doing that pretty much all your life and doing it beautifully. And your art and your choices in life have reflected that in a beautiful way. Red Pill specifically is really a work of art in many different ways, and it touches people on different levels. What was the initial inspiration for it? And as I mentioned earlier, kudos to and congratulations to you for everything that you gave of yourself in it. I mean, I'm talking about producing and directing and creating and funding and casting and taking, every nickel out of your piggy bank jar that you had since you were 5, dumping it on the table and saying, this has to be done. This is something a story I've got to tell. It's in me and we got to do it now, not 5 years from now. Maybe we'll do it or some other project will take you away. This is something that was yearning and burning in you. The story had to be told now. What inspired you to get so deeply involved in it on all these different levels and create this?
Well, it really had to do with the fact that I could see the polarization between the right and the left in America, and the fact that I could see that neither side was seeing each other. And I felt like, when 2016 election happened, I knew how that was going to go because it was just inevitable and it was obvious. And it scared me that people weren't seeing each other's side. And so I always feel like when I'm helpless and I want to do something, for me, there's an Austrian sculptor named Egon Wehner, and he said the only appropriate response to abuse is creativity. And I think being misunderstood or not heard is a form of abuse. So I was like, how can I turn this into a piece of art? Can I make a story and get every side in it where I know that depending on what side you're on, you're going to watch this movie, this scene, this character, and have a completely different perspective from someone who's on that. And I said, that's going to tell me who you are. So it was really important to me that every scene had the perspective of another side of the pole. And, usually people are like, well, there's good guys and everybody. It's like, no, there's the actors and there's the talkers. And, there's a scene in there that a lot of my notes were like, they just talk too much. And I was like,
yes.
Yeah, there's a group that talks too much. I want you to be tired of them. I want you to feel what that feels like because you need to see yourself.
That's right. Was there any hesitation to doing this movie? And congratulations. I mean, look at all of these accolades and awards, honors, and everything that's still coming your way with it, and the cast and crew. But was there any hesitation at all in telling the story, or did you know I'm all in on this, and I want people to challenge it. I want people to feel it. Some people will really love it. Some people will not love it. Some people will praise it. Some people will berate it. And you want all of that for the richness of the experience of this movie, right?
Absolutely. I was very clear that this movie was going to be hated by some people, and that some people were going to love it, and that there were going to be parts that some people got and that other people didn't get. There were going to be, I would get notes on lines like, well, that line is meaningless, cut. And I'm like, no, actually, this community is going to appreciate that line. And so the diversity of the cast, I wanted that to reflect the world that I live in. And yeah, I mean, would I have liked it to have been universally a hit? Absolutely. But I was very clear that I was writing about the polarization that we are experiencing in America, that people still in this moment don't want to acknowledge. And, when I made it, people were like, yeah, this is a little far-fetched. And then after January 6th, they were like, did you write this after the election? Did you write this after January 6th? I'm like, no, I wrote this 2 years before, because I could see the inevitableness that was coming from the polarization that's in our country. Yeah. So then people start saying, oh, it's a zeitgeist film. And yes, people have hated it. I'm like, yeah, when I read what you hate, I'm like, you hate the truth that you don't want to see, that this is America right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. 2 years before, you talk about clairvoyance. Absolutely. And it's uncanny too. The response, the feedback has been extraordinary. What about the feedback from others has surprised you the most? People really touched by it. I mean, obviously it's a thriller as well, but it's an extraordinary story with a lot of reality built in.
Surprising. Well, people always surprise me when they find things in it that I didn't know were in it. Like, I know that as a nerd, I was making a puzzle that for nerdy people, they could go back and watch the movie several times and find all these like Easter eggs, which is also why I wanted to make the game, so that there's a narrative game that people can go and play and see if they could survive the red pills. And we got, feedback from that. And so we just released 2.0. Any question that came up for you during the movie, if you watch it again, it's answered. That is, like I like a puzzle when I'm watching a story. So I try to give that. But then people would be like, oh, this, meant this to me. And oh, this meant this to me. I'm like, okay, all of that's in there too. We as artists, I think for me as an artist, it's like I am simply an instrument for the divine to flow in through and as me. I become empty when I'm creating. And the interpretation is left up to everybody who sees it, because you bring yourself to the work. And so what you see is the truth of what it is for you.
Exactly right. Beautifully said. Absolutely. It really, and we showed the trailer too, and people, as soon as they saw the trailer, they were commenting, oh my God, that looks amazing. It looks intriguing. It looks phenomenal. And what was it like? You've been on stage in front of cameras, television, film, microphones, singing, all of that. And now here you are. This is your dream. This is your baby. You're funding it. You're casting it. You're building this. What was it like doing that, being behind the scenes and doing so many different aspects that would take usually an entire village to help with, but you were there creating it and making it happen? What was that? And did that give you this interest in wanting to do more projects where you are possibly on screen, but definitely behind the scenes as well?
Well, let me just say that you can watch Red Pill on Amazon and Vudu and Fandango and DirecTV and Xfinity. And it was the hardest I've ever worked in my life. And I love to work hard. I love to end the day like exhausted. In fact, people would tell you that I barely slept. We shot that film in 10 days and I was cooking, because in the beginning we didn't have caterers. So I was cooking and I was directing directing and I was acting, and I was in heaven. I felt like this was what I was born to do. I had never felt that in my life. And I'm just like, I want to work that hard again, and get to play God. Like, you get to build a world. Like, oh my God, I get to build a world, and the world is right because it's my world that I built. And if you don't like it, go build your own world. It's a really fun thing to do.
And it's a reminder that we can do it. Any of us can play in it and build our own worlds, right?
Yes. If you don't mind failing, and if you don't mind that people aren't going to like it, if you're like, but I made this, like, it's like that little kid thing of like, I made this.
What are you hoping people are left with upon watching the movie? What can they expect? And we don't want to give it away, but what can they expect? And what are a few things that you hope they are left with?
I hope people realize how polarized we are. And I think that really why I made this movie was I firmly believe that, I'm going to say it this way, XX chromosomes are the most hated people on the planet. And within that group, the subdivision that is mothers are really hated. And I feel like in terms of our elections, there's so much self-hate within my own community that we are disempowered, and we are not even availing ourselves of all that we can do to protect ourselves and our daughters and our granddaughters as we watch the erosion of rights that are going to be for every community that wasn't recognized in the Constitution. This is a rollback of all civil rights. So the most important thing for me was really to say to women, wake up. We are the problem, and we are the solution. So wake up, take the reins, take control. We're more than half of the world. Because if not, we're going to drag it down too.
What would you say to somebody watching right now who's so on the train with that, but is afraid to make those moves? Maybe they've been conditioned or whatever it is, societally, whatever the situation is. They're like, oh, I so much want to do that, Tanya. I want to do it. I have to do it, but I'm afraid to take that first step. What would you say to that person possibly watching right now?
I always say to anyone about any choice they make that when you get to the point where you can do what you can live with at 3 o'clock in the morning, when you're all by yourself, that is when you are free. As long as your choices are built on someone else's approval, you're not free. And I think, not being free feels easy. And it's the choice between the good life and the easy life, because to me, ultimately, we're here to develop our souls. This in many ways is just a dream. So the soul is giving you from inside you. It's telling you exactly what you need to do. You have a calling, you have a desire, you have an urge, you have an impulse. It's that Martha Graham to Agnes DeMille thing. It is calling forth, and if you don't answer it, it will never exist in the world. So you have a choice every day that you are breathing to answer that call in the face of the entire world telling you no. Are you going to answer your soul's call, or are you going to answer the world's call, which we see in social media is pretty, not to be trusted.
Somebody, you don't like seeing everybody's grilled cheese sandwiches they had for lunch?
Do you want to be a grilled cheese sandwich?
And what if it was upgraded to a tuna melt?
Oh my God. Is that what you want on your epitaph?
Yeah, that's right. It's very true. It is very true. If you can, fall asleep at 3 a.m. and be content with the day and content with giving it your best shot and sort of doing the right thing, I'm all about that too. You and I were chatting before we went live about how I said, I've played sports, tennis, baseball, whatnot. And I've always been somebody who, sure, we want to be on the winning team. You want to win. You want to be number one, all that other. But I've never, whether it's in business, family, relationships, friendships, playing sports, music, hobby, doing a show like this, whatever, I've never wanted to win at the expense of the destruction of the opponent or the other side, the other team, the other person. Maybe that's the Libra balance and harmony in me. I just have a little bit of a problem with destroying the other side in order for me to win. Sure, I want to win. I'm going to give it my best shot. I want to win on merit and earning it and striving for excellence, but not if I see the other person sinking in a canoe after we just had a boat race and not throwing a lifeline to help or what have you. It's something within me. And you seem to be somebody similar that, it would be nice if we can all come to the table and everybody wins in certain ways, shapes, and forms in life, huh?
Well, this idea of exterminating people, the word genocide didn't even come into existence until after World War II. That idea of warfare is less than 1,000 years old. And it is a form of warfare that came from being able to kill at a distance. The Chinese had gunpowder for thousands of years, and they never chose to use it to go out and wipe out communities. In fact, people can look this up and they will find out that there are forms of warfare that existed where it was a martial art, and some martial artists will know it, where people would take a psychedelic substance and they would enter another plane. And what we see in the martial arts movies, that was actually a form of warfare, where people would enter another plane and they would show each other their skill, and you would show them like, I'm not someone you want to fight because I'm going to win.
Right.
But it was done at this other level so that we weren't having to kill human beings at all. It was about, let me show you my skill and I'm giving you an out. And so we've moved in our evolution to this place where we are acting out this violence. And, I'm on the both sides. I'm like, this is clearly part of the puzzle. We have to go through this phase too. So I'm like, I probably won't live to see what's next. But there have been other ways, and there will be something else to come.
Beautifully said. Absolutely. If not, then just get on a soap opera, as you have. As the World Turns.
And
all my children. So tell us about that. I know fans are interested in that part of your life too. And that has been something that has, the soap operas have fans that are extraordinarily in tune with the storyline and the set, and she's with him and he's with her, and I don't want that one with that one, and how dare she leave him for her, and all of this. What was it like being a part of the soap opera world? And we've had several come through here, and the soap operas were on in our house as well. And every once in a while, on YouTube, you can see some of the older ones. They used to have SoapNet and all. And what was really cool about you, Tonya, is you've put your mind to things that you want. And maybe it's a razor sharp focus or a clarity that you have. Like you watched something like on My Children when you were coming up the ranks, 7, 8. In Chicago on probably WLS Channel 7 ABC in Chicago.
Yes.
All My Children. And that's before Eyewitness News or Action News. And you knew you wanted to be in that world and you made it happen. How the heck did you do that? And what was that process like? And how did that opportunity come your way for All My Children?
Well, I'm going to say that I wrote a book called Get Over Yourself. You said that. And that really lays out my spiritual process. I do believe that your words are medicine. I do believe that your thoughts become manifest. And so being conscious of what you're thinking and what you're saying, you know, I saw myself in Pine Valley when I was 7 years old. I saw myself winning a Tony Award. I will have to tell you that I got so good at manifesting things that I wanted that sometimes I would get things that I wanted and they weren't really good for me. Now, there was a good lesson in them, but it made me go, whoa. Let me just hold back.
I don't want it that much.
Let me hold back. Let me see what maybe is for me rather than me focusing so much on it. But I do believe that, and let me just be very specific about what, you know, people think thinking into something is what it happens. It's not thinking of something like just thinking it over and over in your head. No, it is embodying the feeling of what it would be if that were true. Mm-hmm. So if you want a Porsche, you got to go to the Porsche shop, sit in the Porsche, drive the Porsche, and you've got to like become the Porsche. You got to know how to talk to people who have Porsches. You got to know where you drive Porsches, where you park Porsches. Like you have embodied Porsche. And so you like, it's inevitable. You got to have a
live
Porsche.
it and breathe it.
Yeah, you are Porsche now. So Porsche must be in your life because you become Porsche.
Exactly. And did you do that with all my children?
I've done that with so many things in my life. I've eased up on that now because I know that everything has some good and some bad. I don't think I knew that so much when I was young. And when I was young, I just thought, you know, if you're a good person and you get things and they're all going to be right. And now I know better. I know that, you know, if you want to have Oprah Winfrey's power and money, you have to be willing to handle Oprah Winfrey's problems because everything has a balance. Everything has a balance. So I'm a little more tempered in my manifesting. I'm like, I put an energy like, I want to go this way, but I want to make sure that when that comes, I can also handle the other side that is part of everything. Everything has both sides.
That's a beautiful way to say because because a lot of times people are just clinging to the what they see as the glamour of it all and the riches of it all, but underneath that, there's a lot that goes with it. I love the book, the title of the book too. You know, Get Over Yourself. Tell us, what was the inspiration for writing it?
So that was in a period where I was studying at the Agape Church with Michael Beckwith. And that is a church that's all about new thought, ancient wisdom. And it's definitely about manifesting and about not ever saying no to yourself. I was teaching a class called the Actorpreneur Attitude. I taught it at Omega and corporations and to actors. And it was all about how actors say they want things, but really in their psyche, they don't believe they deserve it. And I talked a lot about how you may want something, but do you know how to actually have something? So we're talking about the Porsche. Do you know how to have? We're so busy wanting, but having is a very different thing. And so it was really about getting people into the experience of having, teaching them to stand up and receive a standing ovation. How many actors don't even know how to take a curtain call and just stand there and receive? That is the audience's opportunity to give them. It is part of your job to receive. And so it was really a lot about helping people connect to why they weren't getting things because what they wanted was incongruent with what they believed they deserved and what they were willing to actually have. Because having is as stressful as not having. And so someone from Hyperion Publishing wrote me an email saying, would you like to write a book about this thing? And I thought, I have never written a book and I was not thinking about writing a book. I was like, but this publishing company thinks one should be written and somebody's going to write it because they want one. So I might as well say yes.
And we are so glad you did. And what's the response been to it? I mean, it's a great, I mean, it's how many times do we just even say that expression? Get over yourself.
You know what is powerful about it is the book is 15 years old. It came out when, what was that judge's name who didn't get appointed to the Supreme Court, but it was in 2006. And my book was released during his Senate hearings. And so we didn't get to do a lot of press, but I can't tell you, every year I will be on a panel. I was just on a panel in, in North Carolina. And one of the professors there was telling me she read the book and how it changed her life. Mm-hmm. So I run into people in random places all over the world who tell me that they read that book and it changed their life. Sadly, I met a young man who had been homeless for a long time, and someone handed him the book, and he talked about how it changed his life. He ended up going to college and graduating.
Wow.
And so it has been out there touching people and changing lives. And as I said, I can't take any credit for it. Something came through me that was supposed to be, I just was the instrument for it to come into being.
The facilitator, the conduit. What was it like when you won that Tony? What was that feeling like for you? That had to be, I could just see it in your face. Look at that, huh?
Oh my God. I didn't go to sleep for like the next 24 hours because I didn't want the feeling and that day to end. I had been told, the New York Times said I wasn't going to win. So I went to the event with zero expectations. There was a man named Gene London who would collect all of the costumes from the studio. So he had dressed me up in this beautiful navy blue satin dress. And he was like, it's all about the underwear. So he had these little ladies that would sew you into the underwear to give you the body shape you wanted. And I had the hair, the makeup. When you're nominated for those awards, you get to borrow diamonds from like Harry Winston. I had $1 million worth of diamonds on. Like I already won because I got to have a fairy tale night. Like I had already won. And like the producers, who knew you have to buy tickets to the Tonys and you have to buy tickets to the party. And they only bought me a ticket to the show. So I went to the show and then I won. And I didn't even have a ticket to the after party. So my manager was like, we are crashing.
We are getting in there.
It was just this night of firsts and better than expected, like better than expected. One of the things that Dr. Mike Beckwith used to say is don't let your present good become the enemy of your better.
Ooh, I love that. You write that down, everybody? Write that down.
Enemy of your better. So I was there like it was already great. I'm at the Tony Awards. Oh my God, I look beautiful. I'm wearing $1 million worth of diamonds. Did I ever imagine in my life this would happen? And I was just available, and the night just got better and better and better.
And this was that young girl who was shy to sing in front of people and everything else, and she's getting a Tony Award, huh? It shows you that, never give up on your passion and your love of life and your dreams, right?
Oh my God. First of all, let me just tell you a little bit more. I know you got to go probably soon, but the PR people for that show just thought I wasn't even important in that show. They were not even doing press for me. They said I was like the 8th lead in that show. So, Gregory and I worked great on stage. He didn't speak to me off stage. And so it was this trying experience, a lot of crying off stage and getting on stage and doing the work and really having zero expectations because it was such a trying and traumatizing process when I wasn't on stage doing that show. So I feel like I earned my stripes on that show. I wouldn't do some things that Gregory wanted to do, and he definitely made me pay for that. But playing with him on stage every night, he was the consummate performer. Like two personalities, who I played with on stage and who I had to deal with when we stepped past the curtain were different people. And so once again, that balance, I'm having this miraculous, marvelous thing on stage, and then off stage, I am a pariah.
Yes.
And I was able to hold both of those.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Just quickly getting back to, I know the fans love the All My Children and As the World Turns, and we thank our friends at Soap Opera Central for sharing these photos here. Taking on that role at All My Children, what was that like for you? And what was the experience of being on a beloved soap? I mean, these shows, 30 years on television, generations of people. What was it like for you to actually get there when you dreamed of it at 7 years old, growing up, watching it on TV in Chicago?
Well, Jim, that's a story too. When I came to New York right after Marilee, I was supposed to test for the role of Debbie Morgan, that part that she played Angie. And I just knew I was going to get it. I knew I was going to get it so much that I turned down doing tintypes at Actors Theater of Louisville. I had to leave on Saturday. My test was on Monday. Monday morning, I get the call that an offer had been out over the weekend and I wasn't getting the part. And it was like, oh. So fast forward to 20 years later, it is the end of Jelly's Last Jam at the Mark Taper Forum in LA. And a girlfriend of mine tells me she's about to go in and test for this new role of Livia Fry on All My Children. And I have my agent call, and Joan Diancheco, who's the original casting director of All My Children, may she rest in peace, she remembered me from 20 years before, and she brought me in for the test.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible. Are the scripts really this thick? I always heard that soap opera scripts, because you're doing, it's 5 days a week these are on. And if you're in a particular scenario storyline where you're on multiple times, there's a lot to ingest, huh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank God they don't make you be letter perfect, because it would just be impossible.
Right.
As long as you were in the gist of it and you are getting all the points that are going to be repeated and that are the plot, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to talk about this too, this project. This is something near and dear that's a culmination of some fabulous women who have come together to share stories. Tell us about My Moment and your being involved in this. This really, I know, is near and dear to your heart as well, Tonya.
So Kathy Najimy contacted me and asked me to write a story about a time in my life, a time when I found my power. And, I really kept trying to think about it. And there was a story I had written many, many years before called My Revolution. But 20 years later, when I looked back, I could see this event that I used to think of as a tragic trauma in my life. And from the vantage point of who I am now, I was like, oh, it was a gift to me. So the story I write is about a time when I was 9 years old. And, I'm from that culture where, you would get beaten with extension cords and belts and, don't cry or you're going to get more. And when I was 9 years old, I said no. I said no more. And I paid the price for that. Mm. But in hindsight, I could look at it and I'll be like, oh, I survived my mother. That's why I'm so strong now. Like when people threaten me, like we're going to do this to you or that, you're never going to work again. I'm going to be like, been there, done that. Like, what you going to do to me that I haven't already survived? And so it was like, oh my God, look at the gift that my mother gave me. She sharpened me to the point that when I face the world, there's just not very much I fear because I have been through some stuff. And it's like, okay, I survived that. What you got? I'm like, okay, well, okay. If you threaten me, you better be ready to go through with it because I'm going to be like, okay, let's see if I can survive this. Come on.
Exactly right. So early on, it sort of was instilled in you. Do you think your mother did it strategically? Did she know she was doing it? Was she trying to?
No, my mother was mentally ill.
So she was, it wasn't where she was trying to build a strong young lady.
No. She was just mentally ill, and you know what? Another child might not have survived it.
Right.
But I did survive it.
But
and
you
so
did.
Having survived it, it's like, oh, I've survived some stuff. Think about Gail Sheehy's Victorious Personalities from her book Passages. Like, what is that personality that walks across Vietnam in the middle of the war and gets to another country when your whole family's been massacred? Like, there's a survival instinct in me.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's reflected in some of the roles too that you've taken on. I want to show a few more fabulous photos that we have here. Tell us about, isn't that a great shot from Red Pill as well?
Yeah. You want me to tell you about this? Well, this is the moment in the play in the movie, where they find a noose hanging in the barn. And the Black woman is like, I think this is a sign we should go home.
Right.
And everybody's like, oh, no, it's Halloween. It's a Halloween prank. Sort of like how we all have been about all these Supreme Court justices and all these other things that are going on in the world where we're like, oh, no, it's nothing. It's nothing. And the Black woman's like, no, it's something. Like, I there's so many moments in the movie where the Black woman is like, it's a sign. We're in trouble.
Yes,
And
right.
the entire rest of the cast is like, it's nothing. It's nothing until it's really something. It's always ha 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 till it's boo hoo hoo.
Yes, right. That's a very pivotal part of the movie there in that particular shot. We've got some other great photos here. Look at this one.
That is from Women of the Movement, and there's young Cedric Joe playing Emmett Till, and Adrian Warren playing his mother Mamie Till, who, you know, her actions really jump-started the civil rights movement. Ray Fisher, everybody knows him from the Marvel movies, playing her husband Gene, and then the icon Glenn Turman playing Mose Wright, who, you know, risked his life and his family's life to stand up in Mississippi in 1957, I think, and say that these two men had kidnapped Emmett, point them out. He had to move his family and walk away from his land after that.
When you had this opportunity presented to you to be a part of this story, of this production, what was that like for you?
Well, you know, people always think like, oh, you're at the point where you just get opportunities and you get to choose things. And it's so not like that.
Right.
It was like the 28th of December, and I get a call at night. Do you want to audition in the morning for Gina Prince Blythewood? Or do you want to do a self-tape? I'm like, I want to be in with the room with on the Zoom with Gina Prince Blythewood, whatever it is. I don't even care what it is. I'm going to do it. And so then I get the sides of what I have to do. It is the most emotional scene in the movie, which is probably the scene, you know, I'm, you know, being considered for an Emmy for it. And that was the scene I had to do. A 6-minute scene on Zoom.
Yeah.
And when I finished it, you know, there was just like the thank you, goodbye. And it's not something you can pretend. And at the end of it, I felt so terrible. I just thought, well, maybe I'm not an actor anymore. It wasn't fun to do that. And then I get the call. They want me to do a callback. I'm like, oh God, that was devastating. I got to set myself up in some way that after I do this, I can take care of myself. I need to plan something for myself afterwards, because this was the most difficult thing I've ever done, to go back and, you know, like we're talking about manifesting things, in order to embody these roles, you have to go there, or I have to go there. That's how I work. And so I set up, you know, to make this the most easy as I could make it for myself to do it. And I was like, I'm going to shoot my wad one time and then it's done. And I finished it. And the writer, Marissa Gerard, said, oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to tell my family not to come in. Could you do it again? And I was just like, sure, I can do it again. But I already knew. I had already shot my wad. Like, it's done. And what was it, like the 31st, New Year's Eve? I was told that I was cast. So it was like, wow, what a great New Year's gift going into 2021, to know that I was going to get an opportunity to play this part in this pivotal story in American history.
How do you do that? How do you detach from a role that's so intense, so emotional? I know I've heard stories where some have said they get so immersed in the character and the storyline that they either become the person, or they can't seem to separate and leave that person over there, even on the weekend, just to refresh and be zen. How do you, when the role is intense and it's all consuming, Tanya is pouring in everything she's got and it's still demanding more of Tanya, how does Tanya find the zen, the peace, and be able to detach from the intensity of a role like that?
I honestly, while I'm doing it, unfortunately, I didn't have that many days of shooting during the 3 months that we were in Mississippi. So if it's a shooting week, I'm just in it. And it's just like, just suffering for that time, because this is the most horrible thing that you could ever imagine. One, for your child to go missing, for your child to be killed, and for you to find out that your child has been tortured and that there's not going to be any justice. Like, every bit of powerlessness and helplessness that is possible I'm in that. I am in that for the days or weeks that I'm shooting. And then probably I go home and I watch a horror movie because I find them very relaxing.
I heard you say that. Yes, because you know they're not real, right?
Exactly. They're not real. I can see that blood is made out of some corn syrup.
So you mean you were the one in the audience that saw all the Saw movies and you weren't affected?
I didn't see the Saw movies when they were happening because I don't like slashers.
Yes.
But I think one day I was walking by a room and Saw was on somebody's screen and I got drawn in. And what I liked about the Saw movies is there was a puzzle. Like they had to solve something. If they could figure out how to work together, they would suffer less and they could all live. So I liked that. And, you know, when there's blood and violence, I just cover my eyes.
Yeah. Those movies always come on TV when I'm having a sandwich. I don't understand why.
Well, Red Pill has humor in it because I got to have humor with my horror, especially if there's going to be some violence. So it's like, I always feel like just before and just after the horrible, you need to have some humor.
You've got to have some humor in there as well. Absolutely. Well, there isn't a lot of those movies. There are comedic moments in several of them as well. I want to show this photo too. Look at that. Tell us about this one.
That I think was at either our premiere of the movie we did a premiere in New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles. So I'm not certain which city we were in for that, but that was our premiere before we came out on ABC and Hulu January 6th. So that was in December of last year when we were touring. That's in the dressing room, getting my little wig on by Mona B and my makeup on to become Alma Carthan.
Yeah. That's a great shot as well. Look at this.
That was the first festival event I got to go to for Red Pill. We were virtual for most of it. We won like over 20 awards, and I won the directing award at the Michaud Film Festival. And Michaud was one of the first African-American filmmakers in America, started his own studio, wrote, produced, directed. And so I won the director award at the Michaud Film Festival and got to be in LA with my Red Pill mask on.
Isn't that incredible? I mean, congratulations on that, huh?
Thank you.
It's not easy to smile from cheek to cheek or ear to ear with the mask on, that's for sure. It's a great shot here too, huh?
That is a shot at the National Black Theater Festival. There I am with Debbie Morgan, who played Angie on All My Children. And we are actually at Maya Angelou's house in North Carolina having lunch with Maya Angelou. She's sitting behind us.
Wow. What was that like? Could you even put it in words? Jeez.
I mean, what a privilege.
That's
just icons.
Count
Stovall, who played Roy on As the World Turns with Me, still a really dear friend of mine.
What was it like working on As the World Turns as well? Another iconic soap opera, huh? CBS.
It was wild. The first love interest I had was Eddie Earl Hatch, and then the second one was Count Stovall. And that was one of those other like training grounds where that was a hard place to be. That was a hard place. That was back in the days where, you know, the directors were just abusive to everybody and would call everybody nasty things. And you know, you really had to have a lot of spine to be able to withstand the nastiness that today people would be fired for what people would say to us back then. Young people today, they have no idea. We shouldn't have had to put up with it, but you know what? We did. We kept going. Yeah,
it's amazing how there's been progress in that area. Absolutely, in such a positive way. Look at that shot. Wow.
My neighbor, James Alexander, did that shot. That's like at the Signature Theater on 42nd Street. We shot that.
That's the money shot right there. Mm-hmm. This is a great one too.
Thank you. I love purple hair. As you can see, I've got purple hair now.
Fantastic.
When I grow old, I shall wear purple in my hair. Purple is my favorite color, so I probably wear something purple every day.
And that we saw as well. And there's another great one.
Those are the two producers of the Michaud Film Festival. We pulled those masks off for a second to get a photo.
Just to get the photo.
Yeah.
Why do
Yeah.
you love what you do so much? You're so passionate in so many different ways, and you like to give back. Do you love mentoring others? It seems like you also love teaching and mentoring and inspiring others along the way through your work, through your art, just through your day-to-day existence.
I think I am never happier than when I'm like empty and an instrument. And so I feel like it came to pass is what it says in the Bible. Like, it came to pass. I'm going to pass too. And so all that I accumulate, whether it's wisdom, knowledge, material things, I want to make sure that I pass it, that I can circulate everything, opportunity, anything I have. I want to make sure that I keep it in circulation. I think that is Tyson Yunkaporta is the author of Sand Talk, and he's first man Aboriginal in New Zealand. And he says the problem with the capitalist economy is it's an extraction hoarding thing. Extraction hoarding. The universe is a perpetual motion machine. As long as everything is circulating, it can circulate forever, infinitely, eternally. But when you extract and hoard so that there's nothing here, and what is hoarded over here rots, that cannot go on forever. So I just am constantly trying to circulate whatever I get. Like, I can't take it with me, so let me make sure I give it to somebody else so they can take it and do what they're going to do with it, and hopefully they will keep it in circulation.
That's beautifully said. And you express yourself in so many different unique ways, Tanya. Also a painter with an NFT collection on OpenSea. Tell us about that side of you that people might not even know.
Well, I love to paint. I will say that when I was a young child, I used to read the World Book Encyclopedia and learned that the way the masters would paint and have people assist them. So I remember one of the first major paintings I did was a copy of Picasso's The Old Guitarist. And I remember I had done it, to scale and measured and and I went to some event and I didn't get it. And I just like, well, that's the end of painting. But I started painting in the last 6 months and been pretty prolific, and am beginning to sort of branch out away from just photographs to having kind of a kind of style of my own. And I'm not as adventurous as a painter as I am at everything else, because like, oh, you're going to mess up that canvas. But I'm getting a little more adventurous, to fail a little more as a painter.
I like that. Yes, because again, it allows you to then look from the other side, and it just spurs you on forward. What are some of that's a Zen place to be. What are some other ways that you balance the craziness of the career? How do you find your Zen? What are things you do? Do you like to swim in the ocean? Do you like to go to nature? What does Tonya do to balance, all of the activity of being in the entertainment world?
I love to walk. I love to walk. Several days a week, I walk 5 to 10 miles.
That's really good.
It's like a walking meditation, and
Right.
I like to walk in nature, and it's this very sensuous experience. Marshall McLuhan, who wrote The Medium is the Message, he talks about how what we would call primitive man lived in a sensual world where the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the skin, the ears, it was all equal. The world was a sensuous thing. And he says, when we began to write, we elevated the eye over all of the senses. And so we began to believe that the world was like our writing, that it was linear. And we sort of depressed all these other senses. So for me, when I take a walk, I am outside and I am having this total sensual experience, probably that you don't have since you're an infant, where the world is everything coming in all at once. So that is something I do almost every day, or I bike, but I like to walk, and I like to get out in nature.
Is it as good as having a deep dish of your favorite ice cream?
Not an ice cream girl. I'm a cookie girl.
Oh, cookies too. You got me there. Cookies.
I'm a cookie girl.
I'm a cookie. Now, what about the Chicago deep dish pizza?
Every now and again, but I'm really about that Neapolitan thin pizza.
Yeah.
Thin crust. The Neapolitan thin crust is my thing.
Good stuff. You learn something new every day, folks, on the Jim Master Show. What are some, of course, the red pill. Congratulations on that and everything else thus far in your fabulous career and just sharing the essence of who you are with all of us. What are some other projects, things that you have up your sleeve that you're excited about that are forthcoming, Tonya?
Well, I did my first self-published book, which is Red Pill Unmasked, which is available on Audible. So you can actually listen to me tell that story. And, everything I do has some spiritual quality to it. It's actually not on Amazon anymore because Amazon is a nightmare to publish on, but it's on Barnes and Noble and it's on some other platforms, the written version. But I think the Audible is great because it's me talking. I'm supposed to direct a zombie wedding movie. And really a lot. I'm going to be singing at Little Island in June, which is the new park over 14th Street. So I'm going to be a part of an evening that Tina Landau is putting together. I play the mother on Star's show, Run the World. So that is happening and really doing a lot of writing. So I'm putting it out there that another movie of mine will be in the can before this year is out, that I'll have another movie in the can before the year is out. That's what I'm calling forth.
Congratulations. That's incredible. Good luck with that too. And I mentioned you've also been seen on Scandal and Gotham and Madam Secretary and
Fear the Walking Dead.
Oh boy. Yeah. How about voiceover work too? Voiceover?
I used to do a lot more. I just did the narration for the Discovery show, The Chicago Strangler, which is this tragic story about 67 women who've been murdered and their unsolved cases in the city of Chicago. So I think that just came out recently on Discovery.
So people can check that out as well. Mm-hmm. What are some of those blessings and joys in your life that continue to, urge you to do what you do so beautifully and share your craft and the essence of who you are with all of us, Tanya? What are those blessings and joys that you call upon that forge you forward? You shared with us some extraordinary tales and stories of triumph and loss and gain and taking a look at your life, stepping back, jumping in, the yin and the yang, the full circle of it all. What inside and outside of you drives you forward, those blessings and joys?
Nature. When I see the sky and clouds, it's like God is making a new painting every second. When I look at the glory of that, I'm just filled with joy and gratitude because I'm like, and one day I will return to become a part of that. That is like so fulfilling for me, looking at the sky and the clouds and that painting that changes every second, every day, never the same.
Same thing for me. The ocean as well. I swim it, surf it, boogie board it, sail it, walk it, and the ocean, because it's greater than me, because it's more powerful and it's life reinforcing and life giving, it can provide all this beauty and joy and enjoyment, but I have this mutual respect with the ocean, and I like the fact that it is greater than me. And it's something that calls me. It's very grounding for me when I'm near the ocean and I'm in it or walking it. There's just something very grounding about it, and it doesn't cost anything. It's right there. And I kept saying to everybody when people were getting a little uptight about this situation we've gone through the last 2 years, I said, how about this? Go to nature, go to the ocean, plant a garden, all of these things that exist that are greater than us, that have no idea about this health situation. They have no idea about the economy. They're just doing their thing. The sun is rising, the sun's setting, the tide is coming in and out. If you are going off the deep end thinking the entire world is coming apart, as it seems, go to a forest, go to a garden, go to the ocean, and see the rhythm of life still happening through it all, way before us, way after us. And it'll create some sense of some solace. It won't solve all the world's problems, but it lets you know that tomorrow will come and this too shall pass, and we're going to be all right if we're together. And
Absolutely.
we
I get in the ocean and spend hours I don't even swim. I just get in the ocean and just let it wash away everything. I love that.
I was in the ocean with family in Florida, and they were getting ready to pack up. And they say, okay, Jim, we're getting ready to go. And I'm like, why are we leaving? You know, I'm swimming in the ocean. And it was beautiful, warm Atlantic. And they said, well, because it's starting to rain. I said, starting to rain? I'm in the ocean. I'm already wet. But then they said, no, we're talking about the thunder and lightning in Florida. That's something a little bit different. You don't want to toy with any of that. I just want to show you some of the levity coming in here. Veronica Lee's watching in Australia, and she's one of our regular loveties. And you've already been deemed a lovety now.
Oh, thank you. I'm a lovety.
You are a lovety. Tony Awards, Grammys, Emmys, Peabody's, Tellys, Oscars. You get
loveties.
You get a lovety on the Jim Master Show Live. Are your feet tingling?
Yes.
Thank you, Jim Masters, for bringing such fascinating guests to the conversation. I love your work. Love the lovely crew, too. Thank you very much, Veronica Lee. Nikki says, thank you for joining us in Lovely Hall, Tanya. I, too, groove on the never-ending masterpiece around us. I love that. Veronica Lee says, the balance of the ions in the ocean bring internal vibrational balance. Absolutely. You got it. I believe John Denver saying Bob Ross paintings Zen.
I love Bob Ross. I love watching Bob Ross.
Yes.
I haven't done a landscape yet. I've been watching him and I'm like, but I'm not ready yet. But I got some of his equipment. Like I got the Bob Ross clear oil paint, and I got my knives, and I got to do my Bob Ross landscape. I'm going to do one.
Just watching him, they say he's very ASMR. You probably know ASMR. Just listening to him when he's mixing fantastic. The paint, and he's just fantastic. Like, all the world, we lost him way too early, but all the world is a better place with people like that. Maureen is in Arizona, a retired nurse. She says, I love that your life has brought you such success, but I love even more that you're grounded in the beauty of the world. Beautifully said. I agree 110%. A couple more coming in here. Jane's watching in Sweden. Thanks, Tonya, for being here tonight and telling us about your work and showing the great photos. Thanks, Jim. Our pleasure. Jen Barry in Pennsylvania. Tanya, awesome. You're awesome, Zen.
Thank you so much.
Nikki says, this has been an amazing conversation. Walking is such an awesome activity. I agree. Love mindfulness, meandering, so grounding and refreshing. Mindfulness, emotional intelligence, all of it's important. I love getting on a plane and reading emotional intelligence books. Thank you for being here, Tonya. Great conversation. Tonya, thank you for yourself, for you spending time with us tonight. Come back soon, Tonya. You yourself are now a lovety. Christine Clifton in North Carolina says, Tonya, I loved hearing the joy you felt from your Tony Award as well. Beautiful stuff. Thanks, gang. You guys are the best. Tonya, this was really a great conversation talking about, everything, the movies, the film, the television, but also life. And I think it gives people a real understanding and appreciation of who Tanya the person is, as much as Tanya on All My Children and As the World Turns and Red Pill and all these fabulous things you've done and continue to do and will continue to do. So thanks for gracing our presence. We're going to keep that porch light on for you. You are welcome back on the Jim Masters Show anytime. And any final words about our conversation or anything coming up? And I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I certainly have with you, Tonya.
Oh, it was great talking to you, and I would love to come back anytime, Jim. Thank you for having me.
You are very, very welcome. Continued blessings. We will keep that porch light on. And one last person that wanted to say hello, Mr. George Burns is with us this evening. He always pops in towards the end with a cigar and his red hanky. And he said, you knocked it out of the park, Tonya. You're a star. You're a star.
Thank you, George.
You're the best. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Jim Masters Show Live. Spread the word about our show, and we would love to have you back. You really are something special. You really, really are. And we're so honored to have you with us, sharing your grace with all of us tonight.
Thank you, Jim.
You be well. You take care, okay?
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. The incredible Tonya Pinkins here on the Jim Masters Show Live. What a great conversation, folks. I told you it would be. We covered a lot of ground, too. Not just, of course, her body of work and her extraordinary accomplishments in the arts, in television, in film, on stage, an author as well, but also in life. And I think that's really, really cool to have an opportunity to share that. Now, gang, if you would like to learn about Red Pill, the movie, I know it's intrigued you, and also her book, Red Pill Unmasked, Barnes & Noble for the book as well. And of course, her website, you can check out her website too, if you'd like to learn more about all of these incredible things we've talked about. And just really amazing. The redpillmovie.com is the website, and just absolutely fantastic. If this was your first time watching, we welcome you and we thank you. We're here every single day, just about. We've done 660 episodes of what we call our entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series, bringing back the lost art of good, solid conversation with levity, fun. Anything can happen. You never know what direction we're going to go in with our series and with our show. Every show is something different. And again, we thank Tanya so much for joining us. Again, you've probably seen her on all the soaps, and you've seen her in the movies and on stage and so much more. The Tony-winning actress, singer, extraordinaire. But now you got a chance to learn a little bit more about her passions, her vision, her outlook on life, and why she loves to create and inspire. I mean, look at all the awards for Red Pill. Check that out, definitely. And I know a lot of you're so good about Googling and downloading and doing all the rest. You're probably Googling a lot of things about Tanya already. That is fantastic. So do that and spread it with the world, gang. Okay. Really important to do that. Want to let you know tomorrow, look who's with us. We have renowned celebrity fashion designer Wayne Scott Lucas. He has worked with Janet Jackson for years, Mary Tyler Moore, Tina Turner, so many in the industry. He's extraordinary. He's a lot of fun. He's with us tomorrow on the Jim Masters Show Live. We're very excited about that. We also want to let you know that Michael Lernard, an incredible actress you guys know from Olivia Walton's role as the mom in the Waltons. She's also working on current projects. She's going to share with us. She's going to be with us Monday here on the show. This is Double Levity on Monday. We're going to have Michael Lernard live from California on Monday. 2 shows, because right after, legendary jazz trumpeter Roger Ingram's going to be with us. He has performed with Quincy Jones and Harry Connick Jr., Woody Herman, Frank Sinatra, and all the greats. And he is going to be with us coming up on Monday as well. So 2 shows on Monday. If you were with us last night, then you saw soul diva, new soul R&B jazz recording artist Edie Vaughn with us. If you missed that show, check it out. Did you see Patty Davis was with us? Author, daughter of President Ronald Reagan, Nancy Reagan, wrote this phenomenal book on Alzheimer's, dealing with that with her dad, floating in the deep end. She was with us recently. Did you see when David Van Dusen was with us, producer of the 60th anniversary of the Dick Van Dyke Show? Or when Kaja Pilowitz was with us, actress, filmmaker, recurring on The Bold and the Beautiful. Did you see when she was with us? Or J. Robert Spencer, who starred in the Jersey Boys and the Midtown Men. That was a great episode. Or when Nick Endicott Gibb was with us, who found out through testing and research that his dad is Morris Gibb of the Bee Gees. He was with us as well recently. These are just some of the folks that were with us here on the Jim Masters Show, which you can find here on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Click the notification bell so you never miss any of our episodes. Binge watch over 660. And again, we are working on our 2-year anniversary show, which is really exciting. If you enjoyed this episode, there's a little thumb icon on our YouTube channel. Give it a like. and leave a comment for us as well. Drop a comment on the YouTube channel before you go. Just drop a comment. Let us know if you have any questions, you want to say hi. Let us know how much you enjoy our series, enjoy this episode, or anything else we're doing here on air or off the air on the Jim Masters Show. We also have our Levity Cruise, which is very exciting. A lot of you have asked for that. And we have our special travel agency that put together a beautiful Levity Cruise that's going to be sailing from New York. And then we're going to go down to Virginia Beach, and people are going to join us there as well. And then we're going to shoot right out into the Atlantic a year from now in May. That's right. And it's going to be incredible on the new Norwegian Prima, beautiful, luxurious cruise ship. We'll all be together. There'll be special guests, surprises, and so much more. Bermuda is an absolutely beautiful, well-organized place. When I mean well-organized, I mean it's just that you can do so many incredible things because they have so many activities, or you can do nothing at all. It's also breathtakingly beautiful, still a British colony, but it has its own Bermudian influence and gorgeous culture, the food, the people, the beauty of it all. I've been there twice, actually through radio station promotions on radio shows I've hosted. So we put this together for our viewers who watch us on YouTube at Jim Masters TV, the Jim Masters Show Live. It's our Levity Cruise. Now, you don't have to be in love. Don't be fooled by the word levity. Doesn't mean you have, it doesn't have to be a romance cruise. We just call it levity, meaning we're all having a good time and, kindness and empathy and having a lot of fun. So that is something exciting. If you want to learn more, you can shoot us an email at jimmasterstv@gmail.com. On our Facebook group page, the Jim Masters Show Levity Hall, you have information there. You can peruse, you can check out, connect, ask any questions of our travel agency, Quinpanzer Travel. They are the ones who put together from Dream Vacations, which is a major company. They put together this phenomenal Levity Cruise that's going to happen in May of 2023. And you are all welcome to join us. We're going to have a wonderful time. And a lot of you have expressed wanting to go. And you've been doing that actually for about 2 years, saying you want to go on a Levity Cruise. So we worked hard. We didn't want to rush it. We wanted to make sure things were good, things were solid, health-wise in the world and everything. So it's 2023 in May. And it's going to be beautiful in gorgeous Bermuda. Something that's, not too far away. It's not around the world. Some of you have said, gee, can we do something closer? So it's about 600 miles off the coast of the United States. So it is closer. And you can come. You're invited. So inquire within because we're going to be there. And we hope to see you as well and meet you. And it's going to be really a beautiful, memorable time on our trip. We're looking forward to that. So, and our 2-year anniversary show is happening. We're working on that. Feel free to send us a video up to 55 seconds in length, just telling us why you enjoy our series. Some of you have been with the Jim Masters Show since day one. Some of you have hopped on the JMS Levity train as we've been going along. Some of you are watching for the very first time. You wanted to see Tanya tonight, and now you're liking what we're doing. Well, you can check out all the other episodes. They're here for your enjoyment and your pleasure. We always have great conversations that move and inspire. And we have a lot of fun, too. I mean, with all the entertainment, the music, and all kinds of good stuff. We always are here to do what we can to put smiles on your face, Thank you very much, Kathleen. She just did a JMS super sticker. Thank you. I appreciate that. That helps support our show. That's always available when our shows are live. You do super emoji, super sticker. That's available when the show is live in chat. You can also do it afterwards. There's a little heart icon on our YouTube channel under every episode, and it says thanks. And a lot of you have done that. We thank you for your support of what we're doing here. We don't call this a podcast or just a stream out of nowhere. We put a lot of heart and soul into this broadcast to really make it something special, extra special for all of you, the Jim Masters Show. So thank you very much, Kathleen. I really appreciate that. And great show. See you tomorrow. Have a great night. You as well, Kathleen. And those New York Mets, they're doing so well. I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to jinx them. But as of today, they're like one of the best teams in baseball. I hope that's not too early in the season to say that. Thanks to Tanya for sharing so much of her extraordinary career in life. This was a deep, inspirational episode. She's a beautiful person with so many passions. She definitely has a lovely soul. Yes, she does. You got it. Absolutely. And you've got your list, Dwight, of people you'd like to see on the show. Ah, yes, those are some good choices. I'd love to see them all join us as well. Spread the word. Spread the word and tell everybody about our show. And if there's people that you would like to see on the show, if you have guest suggestions, let us know about it. You can always drop us a line as well. And that's very easy to do. You can just drop us a line at this address here if you've got guest suggestions or inquiries, or you want to know more about our beautiful Jim Masters Show Levity Cruise to Bermuda, or anything else, or you want to send us your little video, MP4 or movie file video or view. What we're going to do is during our 2-year anniversary show, we're actually past the 2-year anniversary. I think the 2-year anniversary of the Jim Masters Show was actually last week, but I've been so busy with my television work, radio work. We had 4 memorials we had to go to recently of folks that passed. And it's just been very busy with this series and just a lot going on. We didn't want to just slap a show together. You know us, we like to do some things that matter. So we're working on the show. If you would like to send us a video up to 55 seconds in length, send it as an MP4 file or a MOV, movie file, of you on camera, just expressing why you enjoy, why you love the Jim Masters Show. You may get a chance to see yourself on the Jim Masters Show during our second anniversary, happy second anniversary episode, where we're celebrating the anniversary of our show, but also over 660 episodes, which is more than most. It's extraordinary how many shows we've done and the length of them and the amount of interactivity. We're one of those rare shows where there's interactivity too. A lot of shows that are just talking at you. We're talking with you. So you can do that. You can send guest inquiries if you want to know more about the Levity Cruise, or you want to send us a note. If you have guest suggestions, you can send them to jimmasterstv@gmail.com. We encourage and welcome that. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all at Jim Masters TV. And of course, our YouTube channel where we house the Jim Masters Show live entertainment lifestyle variety talk show series is right here. It's our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV. Whew. That's a lot, but you got it all right. Did you write it down? If not, maybe I'll repeat it for you tomorrow. Would be an amazing experience. Yes, the Levity Cruise. Check it out. Any questions you have. Some of you have been asking questions of our travel agency, Karen, and the team at Quinn Panzer Travel. Definitely do it. They are there. They're all excited. They're there to welcome you. Any questions you have, you can contact them. You've never been on a cruise liner? This is a brand new one. This is the beautiful new Norwegian Prima, brand new, elegant, luxurious ship. We wanted to do it right. We wanted to do it the best we could, and also keep it affordable too, where you get a lot. I mean, there's a lot involved, the food and the cabin, you get so much with the package. It's really incredible. So good stuff. And 2 years, I know. We hope to see you on the Levity Cruise as well. Maureen, I know you expressed interest in the cruise. So we're going to be heading to beautiful Bermuda next May. We hope to see you as well, Maureen. Feel free to contact the travel agency. They will answer any questions that you have. And I know, where would you be with I know. It's good to see you, Maureen. Jim and Levities, thank you so much for your levity. My thyroid cancer ultrasound results are stable. Thank you for your kind words. Levity spirit, I'm okay. Jen is Warrior Zen. Beautiful news. That is beautiful news, Jen. You've got me, Jim Masters, and our Levity squad rallying around you and sending you healing prayers and good health. Always, for anybody watching as well. Thank you very much, Jane in Sweden. Good night, Tanya and Jim. And again, thank you to those of you who did the super chat, super stickers, including Kathleen. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Beautiful blue color too. Really, really nice. We're going to scoot out. We'll be back tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. One more time, we thank our very special guest, Tonya Pinkins. Check out Red Pill, the movie, and all the other cool things that she does. And thank you for being with us here on the Jim Masters Show live, where we do not say goodbye. We say see you later. Ciao. Cheers. Slancha. Hasta la vista. Avita Zane. Shalom. Sayonara. Take care. See you later. So thankful for this show. I have made some amazing friends. Well, of course, Kathleen, that's sort of like the icing on the cake, right? The Jim Masters Show. When I turned these lights on and said, I want to do a show and I want to add it to my life and my schedule and chat with all of you, some friendships have developed with each other as a result. And that is beautiful. And that all doesn't happen with shows all the time. I'm so glad that it's happened here. And you're all part of the JMS Levity squad, the Levity family, which I think is really cool. And that's something that just happened. I was saying the show has a lot of light, love, and levity, but I didn't think I was going to spit out the word levity. And look what has happened. All the guests love that word too, they say. They love it as well. All right, gang. I know there's a lot of people still watching. We hate to say see you later. But we are very excited. We have 12 pints of ice cream, delicious butter pecan and salted caramel. And they were sent to us by, you know who? Paul Schaefer. You know Paul Schaefer, the band leader, David Letterman show, the incredible musician, arranger, conductor, so much more, the incomparable Paul Schaefer. And we were at last week a beautiful and touching memorial for our dear friend and music icon, Ronnie Spector, of the Ronettes, Be My Baby, Walking in the Rain. We were at a family memorial about 2 weeks ago, and then we were invited to a beautiful, beautiful, touching, moving, epic celebration of Ronnie Spector's life. And because we're, part of the family sort of enclave, we got to go, and it was nothing but incredible. It was at City Winery in New York City. And Christine Ullman, if you didn't see the episode when we had Christine Ullman on the show, breathtaking singer, Saturday Night Live vocalist for years. She was inspired by Ronnie Spector. She was the MC. And boy, there were messages from Dionne Warwick and Keith Richards and Zendaya, because Zendaya is going to be playing the role of Ronnie Spector in a biopic. There's a new book out, Be My Baby, by Ronnie Spector. She finished it before her passing. It's actually an update to her epic book that she wrote in the 90s about her life, her memoir, the ups and downs, and having been married at one time to Phil Spector. But it was just such a beautiful, breathtaking. Darlene Love was there. Paul Schaefer was there, and so many others. And Nedra, who was the cousin of Ronnie Spector, the remaining Ronette of the Ronettes, was there, and we chatted with her and so many people. It was filled of love, music, video, tributes, and it was epic. So we have ice cream from Paul Schaefer in our freezer, 12 pints of it, all different flavors. And we've all been clearing it out here at Levity Hall. Don't you worry. We've been clearing out the ice cream at Levity Hall. Lisa, thank you very much. You are very welcome. So great to have you here all the time. I know you watch our shows. You love the Jim Masters Show. You support the show. You believe in what we're doing. You've been with us for a long time. Levity Lisa here with us as well. Jen Barry says, ice cream so cool. I love butter pecan. Yeah, that's what we just had. Zachary Levi, yes, I worked with him at an event at Carnegie Hall as well. Yes, he's terrific. He's absolutely terrific. All right, gang, we're going to duck out. Maybe we'll have a scoop of that ice cream. And we say thank you for being with us, gang. You're the best. Thanks for watching the show, the Jim Masters Show. We always have a good time. We'll see you on the next one. We'll be back tomorrow. Again, one reminder for those watching live. If you're not watching live, then just stay right there. Another episode comes up of our series just for you and you and you and you. Wayne Scott Lucas. Yes, he has worked for years with Janet Jackson. All of them. Christy Brinkley, Mary Tyler Moore. He dressed Mary Tyler Moore, Tina Turner. And that's just the short list. You will not believe the amount of people he's worked with. Remember the wardrobe malfunction during the Super Bowl? Yep. He knows all about that as well. We have a lot to talk about tomorrow. It's going to be a fun episode, an incredible episode. Renowned celebrity fashion designer Wayne Scott Lucas is going to be with us tomorrow. And it's going to be epic. It's going to be epic. All right, gang. Thank you very much, Jane. Lots of ice cream. I know it's kind of late for you in Sweden to have ice cream right now, so maybe you can have some tomorrow. We're going to scoot out. We always have long goodbyes. That's why, because we don't say goodbye. We just say see you later. So we're going to do that right now. I'm your host, Jim Masters. Thanking you for your time this time. Till next time. We call this a talk show series, not just an interview show, but it's a talk show series where we're all here together. And that's what I love. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you again on the next one. I'll be waiting for you right here in this chair. Maybe I'll even fall asleep in this chair. I promise I'll change the outfit. And we'll be back tomorrow. Love you all. Be good to one another. Take care of one another. And thanks for spending this amount of time with me and all of us on the Jim Masters Show. We really, truly appreciate it. Whatever it is you're getting out of what we're doing here, the inspiration, the comedy, the craziness, the poignant moments, the camaraderie. I'm so glad that you're with us. Tell everybody about our show that helps us grow. It takes a village, as we say often on the Jim Masters Show. See you on the next one. Take care, be well, and cheers.